Hello, welcome back to the Always Dreaming Bigger podcast with me, Bree. I am so excited and happy to have you here. I hope you're having an incredible week so far, and I hope the rest of the week is even better. I am so ready to just dive right into this week's episode. We are tackling that feeling of overwhelm. We all literally get overwhelmed, and we can get overwhelmed by anything from, things we need, what we want, what we're supposed to do, what we feel like we need to get done, just things going on in life. And, maybe it's not knowing what we want or thinking we don't know what we want. And it just anything and everything. And it always it'll leave us feeling obviously overwhelmed, duh. But that also can leave us feeling guilty. If we feel overwhelmed by things we need to get done and we're not getting them done, and we feel guilty about that and we procrastinate, and then it just is like a whole cycle, right? So if that's you, because that was definitely still is me sometimes, but stick around because I am going to share all of the things that I do to help myself either just get through it or get over it, honestly. But I hope they help you too. So the very first thing that I do is I get out of my head and I focus on my body, like my whole body, and I take it one area at a time and then I just breathe. And I literally sit there breathing. I'm pretty much meditating, just, obviously not a guided meditation, but seriously, just like getting out of my head, clearing my mind and just focusing on my body instead. And making sure that I'm breathing life into all of the different parts of me is so huge. It can make such a massive shift. And then if it's a to-do list, I literally, if I have a lot of things to get done, I create a literal to-do list on a piece of paper or in my planner. And I break big things down into smaller chunks and I just cross them off as I go. And I get motivated every time I cross things off and I get them done. It motivates me to keep chipping away at my list. And then I don't feel so overwhelmed by it because, I'm obviously getting things done. But sometimes when that overwhelm turns into procrastination, I really have to pull myself up and just start. 'Cause you can make a list, right? You can make all the lists, but it's not going to do anything unless you take action and you start working at those lists. And seriously, sometimes I have to just force myself to get up and I start. And I'll do that sometimes by using a timer, which for some people you might be like, seriously, but it works. Even if it's a small thing, like doing dishes, sometimes we put off dishes. And I don't know about you guys, but one day my sink is overflowing with dishes. There are so many. I don't understand. There's literally 3 of us that live here and only 2 of us here all day long. But point is, that can feel overwhelming too, right? Just the smallest thing, oh, I got all these dishes. But if you feel like you just can't do them, you don't want to, start a timer for 5 minutes. Be I'm going to clean them for 5 minutes. And just chipping away at it, that's just obviously an example. I mean, even when it comes to business things, you want to start a business or whatever, you chip away at those things that you're working at, right? But the next thing I do is I always intentionally get myself excited about things. So instead of I have to do this, I'm constantly saying I get to. Because when you change the way you speak about things, it'll start to change the way you think and the way you feel about them. And I also remind myself of how good it feels to get things done, that good feeling when you're just on top of the world, you the complete opposite of overwhelmed. I remember what that's like. And then I start doing the things. And of course, that's really just when it comes to to-do list. Because, we get overwhelmed with life in general, which when it comes to life in general, if you're well, I have all these things I want to do or want to try. Again, you can make a to-do list of that thing. Those things, the things that you want to do, the places you want to travel, make the lists, start making the plans, and get out of that overwhelm. But I also use affirmations. And now I know everybody knows about affirmations. Obviously, it's a huge thing. But it's not just saying them. Because you could say, I'm a millionaire all day long. But if you don't actually like mean it and you don't believe it, it's not going to do anything. So you really have to put that like, heck yes energy behind it. Like, I am doing this energy. I mean, you know what that energy feels like. You got to feel it through your whole body and put it into your affirmation. Like, feel it in your whole body. I am that bitch. Like, I get things done. And really just feel it. Because I promise you, that'll make a big shift too. Another thing that I do is I always ask myself if there's anything I can change to lessen that overwhelm. Like, make it feel not so overwhelming. And even if it's like, if it doesn't have to do with my to-do list, like just life in general, if something's making me feel overwhelmed, like, is it something I should be focusing on? Like, how big of a deal will it matter in 5 years? Like, I have to, of course, like I said before, get out of my own head, but also question the thing that I'm feeling overwhelmed about. Is it something that I'm feeling overwhelmed about, but do I really need to be? And when it's like life things, I really focus on like the incredible things, and I get into the attitude of gratitude. Like, I literally will look at every little thing I can be grateful for, and I just focus on getting into that energy of gratitude. Same thing. It's all about your energy, and your mindset. So just constantly reminding myself of the things to be grateful for. Like, I will seriously just go sit outside and like just soak in that fresh air and look at the sky and be like, oh my God, how beautiful. It probably sounds so crazy for some people, but if you get it, you get it, right? And if you haven't tried it, try it and be in the moment when you do that, because that's like the secret sauce, is really being in the moment and only focusing on that. But the very last thing that I do is I give myself grace. We are literally human beings, okay? We go through so many things. We have so many emotions. We're multidimensional creatures. Like, we have so many things going on. So give yourself some grace through all of that, okay? Love yourself a little extra or a lot extra on those hard days. Reach out to people, go to therapy, do the things you need to do, like, to help yourself. Take action towards helping yourself get out of that overwhelm. Because if not, you're just going to sit in it and you're going to soak in it and you're just going to continue that cycle over and over again. And nobody wants that. Nobody deserves that. So do yourself a favor and do the things. Get into your body, get out of your mind, get into your body, ask yourself those questions. Seriously, just take those action steps. The things that I shared in this podcast are seriously what I do every time I start to feel overwhelmed. And most of the time it pulls me right back out. And like I said, we're human, things happen. So it's not always perfect. Give yourself grace during the times that you can't feel it. Like, you feel like no matter, like, you're taking the action, right? And you're still like, feeling overwhelmed. Just breathe and understand that you're not alone. It's okay. You're human. So like I said, give yourself that grace. But I am going to leave you with that because like I said, I don't want to talk your ear off. So I hope that you put all of these into action, or some of them, whatever ones resonate with you. Of course, we're all different, so different things might work for you. But I absolutely love you, and I hope you have the best rest of the day and week, and I hope to see you next Wednesday.